Here we are. It's time for the show, and look at that. The audience is already in the chat, clamoring for the show to start. I mean, the show got unruly before it even had a chance to start. I tell you. But all right. Well, my name is Bill Strand. I'm here with Ryan Tran, and we're going to be talking about things that count, that matter for us entrepreneurs and creators. And the chat, this is going to be completely interactive. I do have some things to talk about. Hey, Two Turtle Tom, hello. And we got, by the way, McZoo Exotic Pets is Sean McNeely, and
Okay.
you've probably run across that name. And so, let's go ahead and start with a couple of news items of things that are important to us. And let's see, let's go ahead and pull this up. And then so let's see what's going on in the world here. First of all, I'm sure you guys have been reading the news or seeing something about the CEO of TikTok testifying before Congress. Anybody seen any of this? It has basically been a grandstanding show of where the Congress just wanted to trash this CEO and sometimes show that they don't know what they're talking about. But it was more of a show than anything else, and nothing has changed. And I think for those who are wondering, the problem is that TikTok is being seen as something that China, the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, is able to control, and therefore is a security risk to the United States. And so there is a possibility that TikTok will be banned in the United States, and after that, England and Australia would probably follow. So this is pretty significant. And the CEO of TikTok testifying wasn't able to help the case much. And the Congress people who did the grilling really weren't in the mood for listening. So as for what's going to happen if there actually is something done about TikTok, is either TikTok will be forced to sell. Well, ByteDance would be forced to sell TikTok, or else it would just be banned. And the Chinese Communist Party is saying that they don't want it to be sold. And since they have a huge control over what goes on in the business, which is one of the big problems, who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be a political pissing match. And I mean, whether you like TikTok or not, it's going to be a huge ripple effect as to what's going on. Let's see. Two Turtle Tom believes that TikTok will be forced to sell to a U.S. company or be shut down here. Yep. That's where it's going. I don't think that there's a whole lot of options here because this is one of the very, very few times where you got Democrats and Republicans all agreeing. And so something's going to happen. Ryan, you have any insight into this? Any opinions?
Personally, I've never been a fan of TikTok. I honestly just don't like the platform. But if it does remain up, I think if it does remain in our country, it'll definitely be bought out. And I think a lot of changes will definitely come to it. I think the US government, if they do buy it, they'll figure out new ways to monetize it and they'll completely change the way it goes. I'm not exactly sure how they would change it. They probably throw like some ads or something onto it. Probably use it more for what's that term called? Data catching.
Okay. What, you mean they're going to spy on the
No,
United States?
I guess I'm making it sound similar to what the Chinese are probably doing. It's more like I guess they kind of use it to like understand people's like algorithms, see like interests, and like they use that type of data to figure out more for their business.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, what would be the difference between that and what Facebook does, Instagram, YouTube? I mean, they all do it. The only difference is the Chinese government is not able to walk into Facebook's office and say, you will do this and you will not tell anybody that we're doing it. That's the only difference. But anyway, to be determined. Hey, MNG, LOL. Thank you for joining us here. Hey. Yeah, okay. So let's see. Next in line is Good old Spotify and YouTube are shaking up podcasting. Now, I don't know. Let's see. We got a couple of podcasters in the audience here. So, traditional podcasting has an RSS feed, which means it just signals out to distributors of the podcast. You host it, and distributors of the podcast will put it, like Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. They'll put it out on their platforms. Spotify and YouTube are shaking things up because they want to be podcasting platforms themselves, and they are the reason why this is significant is because they are addressing pain points that podcasters have had since the beginning, and that's monetization. And both Spotify and YouTube are offering from the beginning. Well, once you get monetized, they will put ads on your podcast. They will do it for you, and they will do a revenue share with you. So this is the first time that you can host your shows on a platform, and you can easily monetize it in ways that the audience expects, and you don't have to justify it. So I think this is a turning point for podcasters. We'll have to see how the industry reacts to it. Have any guys heard about this? Any ideas?
I actually really am excited for this feature. I'm not exactly sure how Spotify's doing it, but I know YouTube. I was watching a video on it the other day, and they're making it so, like, let's say, my main YouTube channel, it's not
Yep.
specifically designed for podcasting, but I was watching a video on it the other day. You can make a playlist specifically, categorize it as podcast, and you can literally change the name of your podcast differently from your channel, but it's all in still one. But what's also great about it is they're making it very searchable now, and it'll
Yep.
actually like pull up in a podcast feed. And I was on my analytics a little bit ago, and there's a whole complete section for just podcasts now
Yeah.
for it. So I really do like that feature.
Yeah. And so Two Turtle Tom. Yeah. Oh, hey, look at that. We got Eddie Garabito. We're going to get to your question, Eddie. But let's see. Two Turtle Tom, don't understand what YouTube is doing with podcasts. Looks like a podcast is a playlist. Yes, it is, which is interesting. So basically, what it is it's a playlist just like any other playlist. You have to upload your podcast in a movie format, so you can't do it as a MP3 like you used to. And it will go into your regular YouTube feed, which totally threw me because I thought I put an audio podcast. I literally put an audio podcast onto my feed to play around with this, and I was horrified to find out it went into my regular feed. So all the people expecting videos got this audio file, and
Really? Huh?
yeah, well, it didn't turn out the way I expected. So we can go into that story, but
Real quick though, how did you did you just turn that into an audio file straight onto YouTube, or?
what I did is I just took my show art, and I had my show art through the entire audio feed. So I put my audio, I put it, got my Adobe
Oh,
Premiere, and I brought in my audio file. And so if you go to the first episode in my podcast playlist, you will see it has a single picture and then my entire audio under that picture. Now I have warnings all over the place. This is an audio only experience, but I expected a whole backlash against that, and people unsubscribing, and I expected complete disaster. But I kept it up just as morbid curiosity, and it turned out it did better than some of my videos. Which, strangely enough, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because there's so many people that say that they listen to YouTube, that they don't necessarily, they turn it on in the background. So maybe this, so I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. But to go to what YouTube is doing with this is they are now going to have a special podcast place on YouTube where if you are a podcasting playlist, then your show shows up on that special page. And then soon your podcast will show up on YouTube Music, which is an app like Spotify. It's a separate app from YouTube. And what this does is, and that will be audio. So it will take your your movie file that's on the standard YouTube platform, and they will only play the audio. So what this does is it creates a whole new class of podcast, which I guess I'm calling hybrid podcast because I don't have another word for it, to where you have to create a podcast that is consumable both by people having a visual component as well as audio only, which will be a little interesting. But Two Turtle Tom, the nice thing about this, the huge advantage to this is all of a sudden us podcasters now have access to the the YouTube algorithm. Whereas before, those of us who had pure traditional podcasts, we didn't have any search algorithm helping people find us. There was no discovery. You had to go to a podcasting platform and type in Chameleon podcast to find my Chameleon Academy podcast. And how many people really would expect to find a Chameleon podcast? So, by being on YouTube, you actually get an active algorithm serving you up to all the people out there who might be interested. So, and giving you ad revenue for it. So that's what YouTube podcasting is all about. Let's see. Can one channel have multiple podcast playlists or just one podcast? I believe you can have as many podcasts as you want. I haven't tried.
No, I haven't looked into that either.
We should be able to. I don't think there's any. Well, I mean, hey, Ryan, you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna
your opinion, and I will tell you very soon. I'm gonna figure this out right. I find this out right now, so we're gonna try it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to do. I'm kind of thinking no for right now, and I'm not saying I'm right, but it's such a new feature. I just don't know yet. Like, I know I already have mine on, even though I only got like 3 videos. But
oh no, you can create as many podcasts as you want.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
And remember, guys, you can always change the name of them too. Like when you title your podcast, the playlist, just give it the podcast title, and that'll be the title of your actual podcast, and that could be completely separate from your actual channel name. I already tested this out, and it actually works, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can. It's just like a playlist. They just took their playlist algorithm. You can make as many playlists. You can call it whatever you want to, and you can reorder the episodes, and you can change. Like if you want to switch out your first episode, it's easy to do. You just delist one of them and bring in whatever the replacement is. So it's pretty interesting. The one thing that we'll have to see is how people who have traditional audio podcasts are going to be able to adjust to this format, which is very video orientated, and how much people are going to really accept that. I have an established audience that knows about my podcast first. So that's what they expect out of me. They come to YouTube and say, oh, okay, this guy's got videos too. But so it'll be interesting to see if someone just starts a podcast, how well that will go over. I'm going to say that I am going to start doing video podcasts as a norm, which means I have to do my solo episodes. I do a lot of solo episodes, so I'm going to have to do those on video, which will be incredibly uncomfortable for me. I won't like it at all, but
I don't know. You seem natural with it on Instagram.
Well, yeah, it's okay when you start going, you're just doing it ad lib but for me to do a 15, 20 minute or 30 minute podcast.
Oh, are you talking about doing it without like a chat audience?
Yeah. I mean, my normal 30-minute episode podcast that I put together, either I have to get a teleprompter or I have to get really good at just working off of an outline.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, I know. I got to try it for. I got to release an episode tomorrow for the niche content creator. And
so whatever you do, don't try to be too perfect. There are people who like mistakes too. It makes it feel more human, you know.
I can guarantee you all this will be a very human podcast. Well, here's an interesting question from Eddie. had a question. Someone recently said that reptile podcasts are too saturated and everybody is interviewing the same people over and over. What do you think? I've noticed that. Um, I've
Maybe
noticed the same names, but I don't know that that's too saturated.
I do listen to a lot of different reptile podcasts, and this is my honest opinion with kind of like where most of the market kind of is right now with the guys who are really into it. Yes, there is a saturated market for reptile podcasts, but everything is saturated nowadays. There's it's mainly saturated with bad content, but I feel like mainly what's going on with most of the podcasting world, it's primarily all about breeding only. I feel like the diversity in topic wise is saturated. Like there's just not enough diversity. Like when you listen to Amphibicast, there's a lot of like scientific stuff in there. I feel like reptile podcasts used to be like that, go from like scientific talk to like more natural in the wild, but now it's going to like breeder this, how to make money, this and that, and it's kind of getting a little dull. Like that's my opinion from what I'm hearing with most podcasts. I want to kind of go back more into about the animal, more of like new ways we're discovering how to take care of them and stuff like that. So it's saturated with breeding content for now, and only really just about breeders, if that makes sense. That's how I
Yeah,
feel with it.
I think he's talking about the guests that are being interviewed, and my opinion is that we get a lot of we all listen to each other's podcast. When we run into somebody who is that does well on a podcast and has a great message, it's it just sticks in your mind. Yeah, I'm going to bring this person on too. That would be great for my podcast. I mean, when Father Blue Eddie here has started really making the rounds on a lot of the podcasts, and but I mean, the Eddie is going on all these podcasts because he's got so much that's going on. He's starting a business. I mean, I think I was the first podcast he was on, starting a business with
You
3D
actually were.
printing. And I mean,
I actually listened to that episode.
and that was an awesome episode because he's innovating this nesting box for blue tree monitors that looks like a termite mound that's up in the branches. Oh my goodness, look at that. We got Misty Mountain Fancies in the house. I love it when my wife comes. It's just but then he's working with blue tree monitors and we're figuring out different ways to keep them, and he's got these huge cages, and so there's so many different aspects to what he does. He can show up on all these different podcasts and talk about a different perspective. So yeah, he's going to show up a lot. I know I have there's a couple of people in the chameleon community that are really pushing our husbandry forward. Michael Nash, Jonathan Hill, and there's going to be a couple of names that are just doing interesting things. It's hard to interview somebody who's like the 100th panther chameleon breeder in the community.
Right.
So I think it's because there's a small amount of people that are really doing things. So they and when you find a veterinarian or a scientist or someone who's willing to come on a podcast, you grab on to that. But
Yeah, I think I was hearing in a podcast recently that most like scientists and like certain veterinarians don't really like the reptile hobby. I forget what podcast it was. They were just talking about it. I think it was something with animals at home. Like they just don't want to be associated with us because
they want
a
to be
lot of
very
like
careful. Like I know Animals at Home, he
yeah,
had a problem with non-governmental organizations that are trying to do I don't know if you call it charity work, but they want to do conservation work, and pet owners are usually seen as the enemy of conservation, which is not true. So I think that's the problem he was talking about.
I
Uh,
think that's who I was listening to. Like they wouldn't accept his charity work or his donations because they didn't want to be known affiliated
yeah,
with the pet hobby.
yeah,
That's what it was. Okay.
yeah. But I will tell you, I've tried to get scientists and veterinarians and such, and a number of them, especially if they're say of the experienced generation, they aren't as comfortable with technology, and especially video. So we have a number of people that are highly experienced that haven't developed a comfort level with technology. So they're hesitant to come onto these shows. They really don't understand it. But there are some that are, and so the ones that are, boy, I bring them on. Like Philippe de Vogele has been on. He's a huge name. Dr. Mark Schertz is field scientist in Madagascar. He is. I actually has a podcast of his own. So we have some really people who are really comfortable with technology, and those, yeah, you get those. They'll come on podcast all day. But the Spotify is very interesting because they bought a podcast hosting company that has an RSS feed. So the difference here is that if you put up your podcast on YouTube, you can do that for free. And then you are within the YouTube universe, which is pretty big. And you will go to the YouTube Music app. If you go on Spotify, they have their own universe, but they purchased a hosting company, Anchor.fm, which does have an RSS feed. So you can host on Anchor, which is now Spotify, and it will go into the Spotify universe, but you also have the option of sending it outside. So like a traditional podcast. And so Spotify is leading this charge to totally revamp what podcasting is, and they support video podcasts. So I see Spotify as being the new wave for podcasting and offer podcasters so many new options. And of course, the question is, how's everybody going to react to that? Spotify has invested hundreds of millions of dollars into buying companies and buying very popular shows, and so they're going to need a return on that investment, and so we're going to see how it goes. But they're really the first ones to really invest into podcasting since Apple just kind of started it as a hobby, 15 or so years ago, and they haven't done anything with it. They just kind of say, okay, we've got a podcast playing app, and we'll just be the unofficial home for the podcast, but they haven't done anything with it, and that should be concerning to everybody, because if you're not making money off of it, you don't care about it. And so they're not going to support it. They're not going to develop it aggressively. They're just going to keep it there for as long as, I don't know, maybe Steve Jobs is making them do it in some contract. But
Yeah,
Spotify.
do you know if they're doing any monetization on Spotify for
Yes.
people, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. They have ads, and so you can specify where the ads are going to be within your podcast. They'll take care of the ads. You can do this ambassador program where you talk about Spotify, and so it's all there, and it's nice and convenient. So that's podcasters they can get monetized just by checking a box. Now you need like 100 listeners before they say, okay, you're serious enough to do this, but it's not that
Need
hard
some
to
kind
do.
of terms. Question for the YouTube monetization. So, like, I know you can always do like video ads on like the actual YouTube app, but you were talking about the YouTube Music app. I've never actually used that before. Do you know if they're monetizing through that music app or just only on the actual YouTube app?
Honestly, I don't know if they're monetizing on the music app.
Okay.
Yeah, and on the regular YouTube, it's just like any other video. So, all right. Anybody have any other questions on podcasting? All right. Well, let's see what else is going on in the world. Artificial intelligence.
Father Blue might get a kick out of this one.
I was actually thinking about Eddie when I did these prompts for and so artificial intelligence is gonna just change everything about what we do. I mean, this is a picture created completely from artificial intelligence. Obviously, you can tell it's not that accurate, but I mean, it could get better if I did better prompts and I trained it more. But as I've heard said over and over, this is the worst it's ever going to be, and it is going to
It's
get
pretty
better
dang
and
good right
better.
now.
And it is amazing what people are doing. You can get them to write blog articles. You can get artificial. You can put your voice into artificial intelligence, and it will read the blog article. It will create videos for you. So you can easily have artificial intelligence create a script. You can have artificial intelligence read that script, and you can have artificial intelligence put a video to that script. Right now, you can do that. And so we're going to be seeing, I mean, I've already seen people answering questions on forums using artificial intelligence.
Really?
Yes. It was on Chameleon forums, and okay, so I can't say 100% sure. All I know is that I put that the question into Chat GPT, and the answer that came out was suspiciously similar to the one that was posted, and so people are using it for that. I know that there's a video channel to sell a stupid chameleon book that's been tried to be sold for 10 years. It's an ebook. And he always comes up every couple of years and he steals a bunch of pictures and videos trying to sell his book. But now he's got a video channel that I am not surprised at all. It sounds like it was developed by artificial intelligence. It's read by a computer, and he uses a bunch of photos that he's stolen from a bunch of different accounts. So it's definitely going to get worse before it gets better.
Have you tried any of the AI with actually making a video yet? I haven't.
I've tried it as far as writing blog posts, and the it's pretty iffy for my level of stuff. But what is scary is that it sounds authoritative, and I can look at what it's written and say, "Oh my goodness, this is a mess." I mean, this is completely ridiculous. But it sounds like on the level of the kind of stuff that's out at the entry level. So I could make a complete website using the Google prompts, all the SEO. I can make a complete website in a weekend using this, and just start getting Google AdSense coming by. And so you're asking, why don't you do that, Bill? And I don't know. Maybe I need to be slapped and stop trying to work so hard and do all this stuff that's like advanced chameleon husbandry. Maybe I should just do a stupid entry level website and just get that's it. I'm just kidding, everybody. I'm not going to do that. But
My thoughts kind of so far with AI, like I think there's definitely a lot of beneficials to it, but like I think it's going to make people so lazy where nothing's going to really feel authentic with it. Like, yeah, you could write video scripts with it really easy, but I swear once everyone starts using it and they get lazy, everyone's going to really just kind of feel the same, and they're not going to really like stick out in certain ways.
yeah, I'm going to do a prediction here. Y'all can say, okay, I heard it from Bill. I think that we are going to see a complete saturation of YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok of AI generated shorts, reels, and TikToks. And I mean, Instagram and TikTok's already wanting you to post 5 times a day, and which is ridiculous. The only way you can do it is if you automate it. And so now people are going to automate it, and they're just going to just blast these social media sites with complete garbage. And I think our discovery, our followers are just going to tank because there's going to be a complete saturation, and the algorithm is just not going to be able to figure out what's the good stuff and what's not, at least when it's first posted. And then when people get sick and tired of this stuff, they're going to start filtering it out. And people are going to start requiring quantity or quality instead of just quantity. How they're going to filter out all the AI, I don't know. But I think we're about to see a complete explosion of content,
That sucks.
which may not be very good content. And so if my message to anyone here would be buckle down, it's going to get rough. And our discovery and our growth is going to, my prediction, if my prediction comes true, our growth is going to hit a complete stall while we get a glut of garbage coming onto our platforms. We're just going to have to wait it out. That's what I think. All right, guys. So any other questions on artificial intelligence? I'm going to go ahead and put this away here. And then we got Ryan. So Ryan, you are done with your first year of YouTube. You're into your second year now. How is that?
Doesn't feel like second year, I guess.
It went pretty quickly. I didn't meet you last year. I met you the year before that, didn't I?
You actually met me. You met me in 2022 in January.
Really?
Yeah, at the Reptile Super Show. So it's only been a little over a year since you met me.
2022. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm like a year and a half into YouTube now, something like that.
All right. Well, I'm wondering. Go ahead, talk. What we were talking something about your strategy, and you're saying you've given some thought to your strategy. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, I've been kind of noticing like specifically animal content right now, and like YouTube's like really dropping right now. And like I've been noticing some other niches have been dropping too in views, and like I've been feeling like people only really want to watch more like live streams lately, and like
Really?
something that gives value. Like, okay, you know how like vlogging used to be such a real thing? Like people would like it was a really big thing on YouTube, but now like it's really like vlogging's really starting to like just drop. And I feel like with everything going on with like the economy and stuff, people are only really coming to like watching videos or anything if it provides some value in some sort of way. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like you just can't really be making content right now that just has like no meaning or no value to the person. And like you know how like there's usually a lot of like clickbaity titles of YouTube going on too.
Yeah.
Like, you ever notice that?
Oh yes,
like,
I know.
I chased the kid with a machete or something stupid like that.
And that's what you should do. That's how you get the views. And I've never been able to really do that, and so I'm behind.
You know, I tried. I kind of experimented with a couple of those things, and guess what? Those videos flopped so hard. Like one of the worst flops I had in like the last few months. And I think like the trend for like clickbaity like titles is like really dying off. Like people are just kind of getting sick of it.
Yeah.
I just think there needs to be a lot more like value with content recently or lately that's going on. Is what people want.
All right. Well, I got a question for those in the audience here. How many of you have a YouTube channel that you are serious about or are serious about starting a YouTube channel? So go ahead and put that in the comments and see what kind of people we got out there. What was your hope when you wanted to start your YouTube channel? What did you hope to achieve by it?
Well, I wanted to start generating some money out of it. I wanted sales to boost, and I wanted to like help people like learn more about animals and actually like how to take care of them better.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We've got Two Turtle Tom says he's interested in that. Intrepid Exotics says niche is so small that dramatic stuff gets more attention. All right. All right. Yeah, I have struggled with what kind of titles I want to put on my videos, and I got to say I'm pretty boring. and I don't know that I can put the most dramatic thing was like five things that will kill your Jackson's chameleon. And of course it wasn't clickbaity at all. I gave you 5 things that'll kill your Jackson's chameleon. But yeah, I've not been able to get into the clickbaity type titles.
I did a clickbait video, I think like about a month ago. My hognose snakes are like coming out of rumination or something like that. And I made the title, I think I made it, I neglected my snakes for months, and I made the stupid thumbnail look like my snakes died. And like, but had the hognose playing dead, right? So I was hoping like, oh yeah, clickbaity title, clickbaity thumbnail. And like the video just flopped. I think it was like 10 out of 10. I was like, dang, I kind of learned my lesson with that. I was like, that did not work out like I was hoping to. Because like I would see a bunch of other channels who do like the clickbaity title thing. I'm like, maybe if I do that, people will click on. I'm like, oh, it's actually like kind of content. Like, oh, if they just came out of the wine cooler for a few months for breeding purposes,
I would have thought you would have gotten at least a lot of traction with all the haters.
No, I think I only had like one comment on that video. I actually decided to just make that video just hidden. After that, I was just like, dude, this is such a dumb video. Fuck, I want to quit YouTube. What's the point of this? Like, I guess I was trying to make it like a vlog style, but like since I made it so clickbaity, like there was no value for someone to click on it, it just went to crap. And like even when I looked at analytics for it, like the first 30 seconds, people would drop out immediately. Like 50% of the audience gone with the first 30 seconds. And usually you want to get hit around like 70. People say you can keep it around 70. That's good. But I was just like, lesson learned. People do not like clickbaity stuff like that. And you just got to be a little more straightforward, at least for my channel.
So are you, let's do a definition. What would you say is a vlog type video and then an educational video? What would be the difference?
I guess for education, you teach like people something about a subject or a topic, and then like vlogs are more like talking about yourself, being more, I guess like kind of promoting yourself, talking about your life personally. If I'm trying to explain it in a broad way, did that kind of make sense or not really?
It's completely subjective. That works. So let's go. Let's see. Sean has 2 channels, but concentrating on one YouTube channel. We have Intrepid saying getting about 3,000 subs after about 18 months. A part of that growth is in interacting with reptile community and helping people, ignoring the numbers. So what do you mean by interacting with the reptile community? Are you talking about interacting on your YouTube videos, or are you talking about another outreach like Instagram or Facebook? That just be interesting to know what you mean by that. Because I mean, do you see much? I don't like the interaction on YouTube that much. It's like they put a comment that may or may not have anything to do with the video, and then you got to respond. Do you ever get a lot of engagement because you've gone back and forth?
Like some people will actually respond. Like I know like people that will ask questions a lot, like literally like only like 90% of the time, once you give them the answer, they're just like completely gone, like don't say thank you or anything. So it kind of makes me not really want to respond. And then there's some people who actually have a conversation in it. And that's nice, but when it comes to YouTube on your long form content, technically your comment section is your community,
Yep. Yeah.
But I don't really like it that much. I feel like only your super fans are the ones that really like engage with you back and actually like keep a little thread going. But for the most part, it does kind of suck. Really, it does.
Well, how do you develop a community? What's your method?
I guess pretty much the comment section. I'm starting to realize, how like YouTube has like the community posts.
Yep.
I think that's another good way to kind of like try to build a community through that. It's kind of like, for people who don't know, community posts on YouTube is kind of like a Facebook or Instagram post. And I think a lot of people are really not utilizing that very much to keep like, hey, what's going on behind the scenes or making polls and stuff like that. And I'll admit I'm guilty myself. I think that's something I need to do more.
Okay. Yeah, I've done a little bit of it, but really my community is on Instagram and lives. So I do a weekly live on both Instagram and YouTube, and I have a strong community around those lives. Although it took me about a year to build up that
You really
community.
do have a good community with that. And that's something I feel like it's really necessary for YouTubers too. And like I did do them, but then I kind of stopped for a little bit. I had some other priorities to take care of.
Yeah,
But that's something I definitely want to get more back into. And plus, it's just so much easier to make content that way.
yeah. I'm gonna say to anybody who wants to start doing lives, it's got to be something that you dedicate yourself to, because it takes a while for people to start getting used to you doing lives, and then they start showing up, and then you start getting a regular attenders. But it took me literally six months to start really getting traction, and then a year later I feel like I'm now got a pretty good group that is actually notices if I don't show up. So you got to dedicate yourself to it and be there no matter how many people are there with you, and just be prepared to dance a little bit on air with nobody watching for a little while.
Oh
Uh,
gosh. So
but
how many platforms are you live streaming on? You got Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube. So how many live streams are you actually doing a week is what I want to know.
I okay, all right. Let's see. Tuesday night is on Instagram for Chameleon Academy. Then Thursday night, I do a live stream with Sean McNeely, the Reptile Show reporter. And then Saturday morning is, and that goes on Facebook and YouTube. And then Saturday morning, I do the Chameleon Academy on YouTube and Facebook, and it goes to both platforms. And then Sunday evening is this one, and this one is on two channels on YouTube. I haven't. I, I actually. I didn't. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this one on Facebook as well. But it's and just as an explanation, I actually have two outreaches part of this. This is I have the Reptile Entrepreneur podcast and the Niche Content Creator, which is something that I just did an offshoot of this year. And that's to separate out the entrepreneurial, starting a business, creating a product, and all those kind of things. And then the Niche Content Creator is doing Instagram, podcasts, and videos. And they were two separate enough topics that I wanted to have two outreaches. And really what this also allows me to is the Reptile Entrepreneur is creating business in the reptile community. And that's what I love. I love the reptile community. I love entrepreneurship, but I have a passion for doing it in the reptile community. And so I want to keep that niche. Niche content creator, I want that to be more broad. So that's going to be outside of the reptile community. I'm not going to be using as many reptile references in that podcast. It's going to be more general. And because I actually want to, it's kind of a little bit of a meta type thing, is I want to talk about creating niche communities and niche podcasts, and not just in the reptile community, but anywhere. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, your reach might even get bigger if you do that too.
Yeah, it kind of in the long
And
term. In the long term, it will. Like right now, if in that area, I am just a drop in the bucket. There are so many people doing content, general content, that nobody's going to notice me for a while. But like a reptile entrepreneur, it there was a lot of traction very quickly because it was specifically targeted to a niche that that didn't have an entrepreneur podcast. There's all sorts of entrepreneur podcasts out there, but I specifically said, okay, these are the issues that we care about. And so that got traction a lot quicker than my niche content creator did. So niche content creator, I now have 3 subs on YouTube. So
I didn't even realize you actually started a channel for it already.
yeah, there's that. And that's
Yeah.
okay, because I'm okay starting small on that and slow. I still have to get the website together and all that kind of stuff together. So that's my long-term plan. I'm okay with it starting slow. But let's see, we got something for Two Turtle Tom. Says lives have done so well. I'm considering dropping the long form content and only doing lives and shorts. Which, yeah, the whole video podcast thing is right up your alley. Then, right up your alley.
Definitely the video podcast. In my opinion, what I think the difference between the two, live streaming, let's just say live streaming in general, just not podcasting, right? Just live streaming in general is really good for maintaining your audience and engaging with them and building a community, like you were saying. But I feel like live streaming doesn't truly grow your audience. Like, and I guess what I mean by that is because YouTube won't really push the algorithm for just a live stream out, but they'll push more like long form content, But maybe now with the live stream podcast playlist you can make, that will help grow your audience with the new features.
Yeah, and he's if he's going to do shorts, that's your discovery right there. That'll bring people by to check it out. And I think the advantage of what he's talking about here is if he doesn't have long form content, then anybody who subscribes to his channel is there for the live stream, and so he's not going to have that disconnect there of people. Wait a minute, I'm here for long form content. What is this live stream stuff? And I don't. He's going to have anybody there is going to want what he's offering.
He posted a comment I'm seeing. He's growing with his shorts. 95% of his growth is with shorts. This is my honest opinion. What I think of it. Not saying I'm absolutely right, but however someone discovers you, let's say on YouTube, like Bill was just saying with like live streaming or something like that, people are only going to come there for live streaming. If your growth is only through shorts, people are only going to come to your channel really for shorts, in my opinion. They're not going to come for the long form. They're not going to come for the live streaming unless, like, for some reason they become a super fan. It's just, I don't know, like, it's just really weird like that. There's even a lot of people saying a lot of their short form content subscribers never watch their long form content. They just don't transfer over on YouTube. It's weird. It's like, I've seen people like even on like Instagram right now, let's just say they have like 200,000 followers, right? They start a YouTube. None of their followers are like transferring over to a platform. It's kind of like similar with that, with like the shorts, long form, and then the live streams. I don't know. It's weird. I don't have a solid answer why, but that's what I'm noticing.
Well, I have been trying to figure that out. And I am thinking where I initially thought, okay, if I have these shorts, people are going to, and they follow me because of a short, then they're looking for whatever I had in that shorts content. And I'm wondering if I was right on that, because I guess I don't know the behavior of people when they actually decide to follow, because when I'm on the shorts, if I'm just going through and through and through, I generally don't even know the name of the account until I say, wait a minute, this was very interesting. And then I go check out the account before I hit follow. And I know I'm just one data point. But anyway, well, Turtle Tom, maybe we should just ask you, how long have you been doing this? And have you noticed any transfer between the subscribers coming from the shorts? Do they come to your live performances? So I'd love to know. But put that in the chat. So let's see. Intrepid says really accessible on Facebook. Do video chats with keepers, helping them keep their snakes. Also getting to know the bigger reputable people and getting them behind what I'm doing. Okay.
That's pretty cool, actually. I like that.
We do video chats with keepers. Is that private video chats?
Yeah, like are you like kind of monetizing like off that, like in a business sense, maybe like Patreon? I know some people actually do that with like their Patreon followers, or like consulting in a
Yeah.
way. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? I
Yeah.
think that'd be a great idea for this guy.
Oh, let's see. There we go. Sean is excited about Reptile Show Reporter. That's that's an interesting story how that came up. It just has this long evolution of how that show became now Reptile Show. It started off with just us saying, okay, we're going to have a show to get to know the Facebook admins of the Chameleon Enthusiast, and it just morphed from there to me and Sean talking about whatever he wanted to talk about, and now it's the Reptile Show Reporter. It's all about him going to reptile shows and talking to the people there and talking all about reptile shows and how they're put together and what the the issues are around that. It was just like this huge evolution into something really cool.
Huh.
So I'm along for the ride.
I'll have to check that out. That kind of sounds interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, it really is, because he goes to the show and he picks out people, interviews those people in a live feed on Thursday, and we talk about what it's like to be part of a show. And he starts going in and saying, "Hey, look at this setup that this guy did. These are very good setups for a show because we have those issues. You go to buy a reptile, and you go and see one of these setups that's just meant to sell the animal, so the animal's sitting there on display, and the people go away thinking, oh, okay, this is how I take care of the animal." But and so he's going around, like today he went by a booth called Chameleon Cartel that had these naturalistic setups for chameleons, and so he featured them. So it's a really cool show. I'm really happy to be part of it, kind of grandfathered in.
Are they on Instagram?
Yes. In fact, he just
So okay, I'm gonna follow them right now. So Reptile Show Reporter, right?
yeah. He just
Look, you
did a
got a
bunch
new
of
follower.
did a bunch of live little live shows from the show today. Yeah.
John McZill.
Yeah, that's it. All right, now checking all the chats here. All right, so this is Intrepid is on Facebook Messenger video. Okay, so Intrepid's doing consulting. All right, free consulting, it sounds like. And let's see. So Tom's coming back with what he's doing live is where I'm growing. Okay. All right, so he's doing turtle keepers. Doing turtle keepers. All right, so Ryan, what do you plan on doing going forward?
You know, I still want to do vlogging, honestly. Like, as much as I love making evergreen content, it's just like I still got to have fun with it too. But like I was saying before, I realized every vlog got to have some kind of value with it. And right now, this year is going to be kind of quite a breeding year for me. And I think I'm really going to take people more like behind the scenes of like with my actual reptile breeding. Like, my hatchling videos seem to do pretty decently well for me on my channel, but like I want to like show people like more of the failures behind it, my successes, just show people that I'm human. But when I do these vlogs, I'm trying to think of like how could I title it to where it doesn't seem like it's just a vlog style content, but there's like some kind of value to it. Like, I haven't figured out how I want to initiate it yet, but that's kind of where I'm going with that. And I feel like if I do that more, then people will actually learn how, like, oh, maybe since I want to breed these animals, they want to learn how to do. They could get some experience from it, like kind of like in a mentor way, or learn some things if they don't have a mentor. And I feel like if I do that, that'll help generate some more sales for me. Because I usually every time I do post just a hatchling video, that always generates me some sales.
Okay. Do you have a sense for how how do I say, loyal of an audience you have right now, and how many return viewers you have?
It's kind of hard to tell. I feel like usually, let's see, I'm at like 6K subscribers. Usually, let's say on like a day one, usually let's say if I do actually do release a good video, it's usually probably around like 5 to 600 views within the first
Okay.
day, and I think most of those are from my subscribers already. So I guess I say with my actual numbers, it's probably around like maybe 10%
Okay.
loyal viewers that do return.
And
It's so weird with YouTube. Like, I don't know. Like you could have like 300,000 subscribers and you could still be one of those channels that only get like maybe 500 views a video, 1,000 views a video. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know how to exactly describe it.
well, here's the perennial question that we all have to answer on a day-to-day basis. How much effort do we put into cultivating the community we have, and how much effort do we put into discovery? Because they're not the same things. They're not the same
No,
content.
they're not.
And so how do you
You
split
know,
up your effort?
I think, when I first started YouTube, like a lot of people say you should always make the videos that add value where you're helping people, and that's how people discover you. And that's always been my best way for my growing is make searchable kind of content. But like I think this year is kind of like it's kind of the year that I kind of realized I really need to like start cracking down on building an audience. Like there's still times where I feel like even with my channel, like I don't really have a community because I haven't put the effort to really like try to build it aside from making videos, like doing the live streams. That is something more I need to do, like that. I do need to do more posting. I probably should reply to some more comments on YouTube videos and stuff like that. It's just, I guess I haven't got to that point in my journey, like where you built your community, like you figured out your code for you. Your live streams is where it's at for you, and like for me, I haven't gotten there yet. Like, even though I can make like really nicely edited videos and stuff like that, I haven't built my own community yet. And I think that is one of the things I really need to do this year.
Yeah.
And speaking of one of the comments here, Saren Croft, she watches my videos quite often. I think she's part of my community. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for tuning in. And my electric blue day gecko babies are doing good. So I'm reading her comment without it on the screen.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I have made a conscious decision to put a lot of effort towards cultivating the community instead of discovery or growth. And that I know we've got to grow. I've got to grow. We all have to grow. It's everybody. It's
It,
not a vanity metric. We have to grow. Uh,
it's
if nothing else, just to replace all of the subscribers that that no longer log in. I mean, people drop off, so we have to grow. But it's gotten very difficult to do something like that.
Dude, YouTube is such a tough platform now, especially as an animal creator. I tried a lot to figure out ways to grow, and like I'm still growing it steadily, but it's just for how much effort I'm putting in. It's just like, man, do I want to? Like sometimes it really messes with my mental health, like trying to do YouTube because like you got to grow, or what's the point? And like sometimes when I put that really big effort into it and then the video flops, it's just like it just feels like you're getting socked in the gut or something, man. But even if I'm gonna struggle with growth, I think growing at the rate that I want to, I think I need to just be doing what you're doing, is building your community. So I feel like what I'm doing has like a good purpose.
Yeah, I could tell you, I have specifically made the conscious decision to build community, and it's a very slow growth to actually build the people that come back, and so you have the same names coming back every week. It takes a lot of time to build that. And I'm very, very happy with that decision. And so I use live live shows and Instagram stories. So I do a lot on stories. Um,
I
and
wish I was at 10K followers on YouTube so I could do stories. I really wish I had that feature, but you have to have 10K subscribers in case you guys didn't know to have
oh,
that feature.
I'm sorry, I do that on Instagram. Uh,
Yeah, but I was just saying for the audience in case they didn't know.
so yeah,
But
actually, I haven't even done anything on YouTube stories. I mean, how have you done YouTube? You're not 10K yet, okay.
yeah, no, I still got a few thousand to go.
But I mean, I know YouTube Shorts, but I very rarely, honestly, I don't even know, where do you run into YouTube Stories?
It's kind of like there's a subscription page. I know YouTube hasn't utilized it well, but I do see it from certain channels from time to time. I think it's usually in like the RSS feed or when you hit or the subscription feed. I don't know what to call that. Subscriptions playlist. Is that what you call it? I think so. Sometimes I'll see stories from there. They'll have like a ring around it, kind of like similar Instagram. I'll admit they do need to kind of make a better feature for it, kind of improve on it, which I think they will at some point. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. It's a
yeah,
weird feature.
I don't see, I'm here on YouTube, and I'm not seeing stories. And I just, okay. So does anybody here use stories on, I'm sorry, not Instagram, on YouTube? Has anybody used stories on YouTube? Um, let me know how it's going, because I use stories on Instagram, and I've gotten a very good response with people there, and so I'm able to build that community there. Um, and I know I mean, we're all supposed to grow, but on let's see, on Instagram, I'm somewhere around what, 26,000 or something, and how many more do I need? That's the kind of thought I came up with, is okay, it's 26,000. How different is that from 36,000? How much effort do I want to put in getting to 36,000? How many really super fans do I need? And uh, I think I've got enough right now to develop a group of super fans from what I already have. And so that's why I decided I'm going to really invest in my community and build up
You're
the
doing it
quality there.
right. You're really doing it right. And I bet you every time you do a live stream, your community makes you feel good when, like you actually post a video or something. Like for me, the only way I feel good from YouTube is that it generates me sales of animals or some affiliate money, or if I get high views. I don't really like the comments. Don't get me wrong. Like Saren, she comments on my videos all the time. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate it. It does make me feel bubbly inside, but the only time I really feel like I get to like engage in my community on a really special level is when I meet them in person at the shows. And
On
so my community, I feel like it's more in person.
Yeah, I've been able to develop that community. What's really special to me is when I see the same screen names enough on my live feeds that I actually learn their real name. And when I see them come, and I have to learn both Instagram and YouTube names. So I've got two names for everybody, three names for everybody: real life, Instagram, and YouTube. And so when they are around enough that I see them enough that I learn their real name, that's like really special to me. So let's see. Here's a interesting question here from Supreme Geckos. Is it a matter of using all the tools, lives, searchable content, and shorts? I got, I've got my opinion on
uh,
this. We'll let you.
I kind of want to say this too. Honestly, this is kind of like my thing too. This year, you gotta to play the game, you gotta evolve with the game. And like I was saying before, even with lives, I know I need to do that more to engage in my audience, hold and build that community. That's more I need to do. Searchable content, I feel like I've always been good at that. Most of my audience, I guarantee they found me through the YouTube search bar. Shorts, I played around with that. you know, I don't know how to really utilize it well for animals. The only, you know, there is something I really want to do with shorts that I think it's actually a great way for monetizing. So I've noticed some other channels have been doing this, and I think this is a really good idea. So you know what? You already know about Amazon affiliates.
Yeah, yeah,
You, Dude, I've been seeing some people, let's say even from a different niche, talking about, oh, the best beginner camera, Canon M50, Sony EVZ, blah, blah. Go over like 60 seconds with it. Check out the links in the description.
hmm
And they'll, let's say they get like 100,000 views. And even if just only 1% of them click on that and buy something, boom. Even if like they don't buy a
yeah,
camera, but buy something else the next day, that's
yep,
kind of what I plan on doing is maybe trying to use shorts to generate more passive income, not through the ad revenue, but like
yep.
just the affiliates, like
Yeah, I
I
do
think
that,
I
and it works quite well.
oh, you actually done that on short form
Yeah,
already?
on
Oh
short.
shoot.
Well, I don't do it on shorts. I do it on um, long form. I do it on my
Oh yeah,
website.
yeah.
Yeah, and shorts. I don't know. Does anybody really go into the description and the comment description on shorts?
I think that's where it's up to the creator to really make the person do it. You gotta kind of add some value into that short. Like maybe I'll do something. Just an idea. Maybe I'll do something. Oh, the best top 5 like Amazon products for geckos right here. Click right there. And if somehow I just had 100,000 views on it, whatever, maybe 1% of them generate me like $50 somehow. Just ideas is what I'm thinking is a great way to start monetizing with reels, shorts, and stuff like that through across all platforms. That's something that I've been thinking recently, and I'm going to play around with it.
All right. Well, Supreme Gecko, this is my opinion on that, and I'm going to answer this from the perspective of Instagram because on YouTube, yeah, I do a lot of different things. Well, I guess I can say it from both YouTube and Instagram. All these different features kind of end up having their own little sub communities. Like I'll say on Instagram with stories, the people who surf the stories, they like to just surf stories. They're not going into the feed. The people who are in the feed, they like to scroll up, and as soon as they get into shorts, that puts them into another cycle. And so it's like there's a shorts community or a reels community, and then there's a stories community, and those it's like, and then there's the live community. So, and obviously there's overlap between those three, but I find I don't do well if I try to do everything, but I can do very
It's
well if
hard.
I focus on like I'm focusing on developing community. So I'm doing lives and I'm doing stories, and those work very well to grow community. Shorts are very good for discovery, and so shorts and the feed, if I want to start doing different things on the feed, that's very good for discovery and bringing people in. And and I try to put a little bit towards discovery, but I'm deciding to put a lot towards community. If you're just starting out, but that's for my Chameleon channel that I'm what 26 27,000 subscribers on Instagram, and here it's about like it's 17 18 something like that. uh, but on my reptile entrepreneur account, this is the first time I've ever done a live because it's starting out, and so I need to do discovery for reptile entrepreneur. And I haven't been doing a lot of that. Okay, because
It's tough, dude.
actually my purpose for reptile entrepreneur was I didn't really want everybody in the world coming here. So I didn't care so much about the discovery. I wanted it to be a small, uh, intimate group of people who really cared about the entrepreneurial arts in the reptile community. But this niche content creator, I am gearing up. And so everybody knows this niche content creator is actually a new thing that I'm putting together. It's a new podcast, it's a new Instagram account, has 170 followers, a new YouTube, which has all of 3 subscribers. And I don't know if one of those is my mom and the other 2 are bots from India. Who knows?
The easy subscribers.
But I'm gearing up for a huge discovery outreach for the niche content creator. And I'm not going to try to do lives for the niche content creator. This is going to the niche content creator. So somebody is watching from the niche content creator, but really, I have to develop an audience for this channel before I can really get a lot of involvement from the community. So it depends on where your channel is as to whether you have to focus on discovery or building the community. And and the different tools will do discovery or community. Oh boy, I'm getting far behind on
Yeah,
comments.
it's just kind of hard to figure out what's going on. Like I feel like even all the platforms, they're all trying to figure out what's going on. This is like it's really hard right now. I mean, Instagram's on hold with their monetization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, TikTok's being weird. We got shorts now. It's like I don't know. It's like everyone needs to take 5 and figure out what you want going on for yourself. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on with like me, like shorts, live streams, and all that. It's just like take 5 and think of what you really want to do this year. It's weird.
Well, we just have to surf the waters, the waves that we're given. And right now we have a mess of stuff coming in. TikTok is the most consistent in what they are, but even them, they're starting to branch off. They know that they can't do an entire business for the next 10 years off of shorts. They need to develop their app into something that's more diversified. And so that's where you start seeing them expand from what 15 seconds to 30 seconds to 1 minute to now 10-minute videos. And they start allowing you to put in still images, like you can create a slideshow on TikTok. And so they're like stealing Instagram's features, and you know that serves them right.
Yeah.
But
I hate TikTok. Just want to throw that out there. I hate TikTok with a passion, guys. Okay.
all right. Well, we'll have some like therapy session. But, I'm on TikTok just a little bit, but yeah, and the reason why I'm not on it more is because I've got to concentrate. I find out if I've had to choose where I'm going to be, because if I try to do right now doing YouTube and Instagram, those are my choices. If I try to add on another one, Facebook, TikTok, or any of those, it's just too much. And it's not just repurposing content. Everybody says, well, you just repurpose the content, you just put that content out there. It's not about repurposing content. I can do that. And the problem is, then you start developing a community on all these different platforms, and now you've got to support that community or else it dies. So don't start putting content all over the place unless you're able to support the community that builds from it. And so I know I'm dedicating myself to the YouTube and Instagram communities, and that's what I can handle.
Yeah, I think this year I'm also need to try to grow my Instagram back up. I just been so lazy on it. It's kind of hard. It's social media can really demotivate you sometimes. And you guys, in case you guys don't know in the audience, I had my Instagram with 20,000 followers get deleted along with my Facebook, and I was monetized on both platforms. So those two platforms were bringing me okay change, which made me feel good. But they got deleted, and I got lazy, so I just started doing YouTube only. But still, we're in that day of age. You can't just rely on one platform anymore. It's not smart because things get taken away like that.
Yeah. And you know that's a really good thing to bring up. If anybody has been listening to the Reptile Entrepreneur, I am constantly harping on this. And by the way, everybody here know about the Reptile Entrepreneur podcast? It's been going for a while. We're on our 3rd season, but it's all about what you need to do to survive. And I'm not talking about the high level, how to make $1 million in a month type stuff. I'm talking about the actionable things for those of us on the ground trying to build up to our dream is $10,000 a month. I mean, that would be a dream. And so that's where I work in. So if you're at the bottom and you're trying to build up something from the ground and scrape something together, you're who I'm talking to. And we've been talking about the dangers of social media and assuming that you've got social media there and relying on it, especially those of you in the reptile community. It's dangerous because people lose their accounts like Ryan did. Well, okay, one because of reptiles for in Ryan's case is because he's a colorful personality.
Real quick, I see Supreme Gecko had a comment why I got deleted. It wasn't because of sales at all. It was so stupid. So real quick, your business pages for Instagram and Facebook have to be linked to a personal profile. And since I like to be humorous and say bad words, I made a joke about kicking a friend's butt on my personal profile, laughing emoji, just kidding around. It's obvious it's kidding, but Facebook's AI decided to call me a terrorist. Shut everything down, literally. Shut everything down. And I tried to appeal for it. They gave me 30 days, but guess what? Whatever his name, Tom Zuckerberg, whatever. He fired 11,000 employees 2 days right before that happened. So no one checked it out and everything's gone. So even on your personal profile, be careful what you say that's linked to your business pages. Really stupid.
Yeah. So yeah, it is, I'm living on the edge by having him on here. Just because he's trouble. He's trouble. So, oh hey. you need to
Did you just assume my gender? That's all I could think. I'm so sorry. It sounds like a girl name. It's not a.
Oh hey, you know what?
If it makes you feel any better, Ryan could be a girl name too. Legitimately can.
Yeah. So, oh boy. All right. Oh well. I would have said we can start closing this down. If anybody has any final comments, just throw them up there. We'll talk about this last one from Lucky Stone. Shorts can give you 5 views or 5,000. I still have not figured out how to catch lightning about it. No, none of us have. Absolutely none of us have. The stupidest shorts go viral. I got 25 million views. This is before monetization, by the way, but 25 million views on a stupid reel that I threw together. At least it had something to do with chameleons. And I mean, it was just the most ridiculous thing. I threw it together because I was experimenting and trying, okay, so what does this button do? And it put it up, 25 million views. But the things that I spend weeks on putting together, okay, a couple hundred, there you go. A couple thousand. So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, I hate the algorithm right now.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Supreme Gecko says, I'll be listening to those podcasts tomorrow, Bill. Yeah. Look for right now, the best place to listen to Reptile Entrepreneur is on a traditional podcasting platform. I haven't been doing video podcasts on those. I know I've got to switch over, and hopefully within a month, everything that I do will be video podcasts because that's where I need to go. But the really good stuff is on the audio. So the traditional RSS feed, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and just look like Reptile Entrepreneur Podcast. And then the sister podcast to that is Niche Content Creator. And hey, Tradesman Exotics has shown up. Hello. So, hey, let's best video starting YouTube. Now, I'm not sure if CCT is talking about educational videos on how to start YouTube, or let's go for if CCT wanted to start a YouTube channel, what would be the best video to start off with?
Start off with the basics of whatever your niche is. And we'll just say reptiles, for example. I think one of my very first videos, besides my intro video, was a care guide for a panther chameleon, because that was like one of the things I most specialized in. Basically start down with the basics, even if it's just so simple, that makes a big difference. I mean, everyone got to start somewhere. So start out with, let's say for your first 5 videos, aside from your intro, make like the first 5 basics, how to ride a bicycle, how to change your tire, how to put a chain on your bicycle. Just saying examples like that, start with the most basic things from there. I feel like people will subscribe to you a lot more easier if you give them some value first.
And I'd say just throw stuff together and learn while you do it. Avoid taking classes and watching videos and reading stuff, and avoid the preparing forever.
There's a good term for that. It's called analysis paralysis.
Okay.
And I kind of did that too before I started YouTube. I'd watch so many damn videos, how to make a stupid thumbnail, how to edit, how to do this, algorithm this, algorithm that. It's when you just keep looking, observing, researching. It's just you get stuck in that state and you gotta get out of it. And like, no matter how many times you study someone, until you just go out there, get thrown in the wolves, you won't learn, dude.
Yeah, and it doesn't work the way I've gone through those classes. I've paid money for classes, and it's so nice and neatly put together. It is a complete mess when you actually have to put it together. The lighting is horrible, and then your audio is off. And what the heck? You don't know what you need to know until you actually do it, and then just throw that video up and don't try to make it perfect. Go on to the next video. You have to keep going. And it's just starting. I mean, people are going to get sick of hearing that from us, but just start and keep going and get better every video after that. I mean, look at me right now. One thing that I'm working on is my background. I kind of like my jungle back there, but I
do like it. I was noticing that.
I want a light thing like Ryan has. Those little light hexagons.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat.
I have seen things like that, and I've always looked at those and I said, "Oh, those are cool." And then when Ryan showed up with this, oh, all right, fine.
Oh, real quick. So the water's murky now because it's new and it got some tannins. But my latest video, I made a turtle paludarium.
Uh-huh.
So like, there's branch. It's a little. It's hard to see because it's going through that initial algae bloom. I'm leaving it like that. Wood, my musk turtle land area that I DIY'd. Couple potted plants, heat lamp right there, UVBs off. But yeah, I kind of did that, but I'm eventually going to add fish to that here soon.
Uh-huh.
And when I do, then it's going to look a really cool background.
Oh yeah, we've got some making bad videos is the only way to learn how to make good videos. This is so true. It is so true.
You got to learn how to become disappointed pretty much on this journey. Like, again, with all that studying you do, no matter how much you study, how hard you edit something, you're going to get disappointed. Trust me. There's moments in YouTube I feel great. Like, oh, I did so much better this time than it shows. And then I even did more better work this time. And then you get disappointed.
Oh, and
so expect that.
And Intrepid comes up with an incredibly good point, is you will get your own style. You will have your own style, but you won't get that until you start making your videos. And that is the truth. So let's go with the words of Supreme Gecko. Just press record.
Pretty
Take
much,
a leap and do it. I had to tell you, going into video is the hardest thing for me. I'm a podcaster. I love podcasting. And, I dabbled in YouTube, and I came back to YouTube only because that is where the industry is going. That is where I have to be part, because I'm not a podcaster. I'm a chameleon educator. And so I go with where back in early 2000s, I created an e-zine, a chameleon e-zine called Chameleon Easing, but it's still up, chameleonnews.com. And so that's what I started over 20 years ago. Things have changed. And then there was podcasting. And so I got into podcasting, and then, and now there's video podcasting. So I have to adjust, and it's not easy. And doing this whole video thing has been a traumatic experience for me. My poor,
does it even feel like that now?
I get in a lot of frustration with video trying to do it. And it's a huge growth point for me, is to sit and talk to the camera and be able to articulate ideas, not just 60 seconds of ideas, but like 10 minutes, 20 minutes of ideas. It's I can do it, but it is highly stressful for me.
And no, I get that. That's how I was at first. And to be honest, it's still like that for me if the camera doesn't move. I swear, if I do it like this and like point at something like what I'm talking about, something no, seriously, like yeah, I kind of get worn out and breath a little easier doing it like this if I'm like really hyperactive. But I swear, something about it makes it a little bit easier, and it holds people's retention rate a lot more because.
Oh yeah,
Sitting here, if this wasn't a live and this was just a straight video, people probably get really bored already. Just something about I don't know, just something about doing this, like, oh, there's my Steve Big Egg. It's just much easier to talk to the camera if the camera's moving with you.
The way I need to grow into the point where I can create an outline of some serious topics that I need to go over and be able to talk about it as I walk through the park. Because if I sit here for half an hour, like right here, and talk about it, I mean, people's brains are just going to atrophy. I mean, people do it. I mean, they'll listen. But I would like to get to the point, and I will start this. Everybody, you will see for the next month, you're going to see my video podcast be me sitting here talking into the camera, doing my best to survive the experience. But by the end of summer, I hope my intention is to be walking through the park or being out in nature or being somewhere moving and being able to do the same thing. We'll see. Or else have different backgrounds that I keep changing. Maybe I switch my locations. But
that really does help. Or like, what might help you too? Let's say I have done this in my video and it has. Let's say you say a couple of sentences that you want to, whatever the topic is, just like this. Take a breathe, cool off, get that sweat off your face, and then say the next two sentences with a different background.
Yep, that's a great idea.
Dude, no, I'm okay. Have you ever watched like Tanner from Serpa Design?
Yeah.
The guy who he does that brilliantly. I can tell he's not a fluent talker on camera. I can tell because he does that like every couple sentences. He does that and does that. So it gives him a break to recoup. And actually, so try that, Bill.
That's a great insight.
I think that would really help. Yeah, I've done that a few times. That really helps because just talking straight to the camera, like I said, a holding still camera is hard for me too.
Yeah, my complete comfort level is to create write out a script that, and I like massaging paragraphs, and that I just get joy out of creating a blog, essentially a blog article, and then reading it to my audience. And I have such a passion for doing it that way, and a feeling that it's not just a rote me reading it and you can tell that I'm reading it. It's like, okay, I'm really feeling this because I do. This is a passionate thing for me, and that's how I really can make sure I get the right wording out. And so making this transition to video has been a difficult thing, but that's where the world's going. So
yeah, if you ever wanted some tips, I could be happy to try my best to give you some tips, like kind of like the camera thing. I think that's going to work great.
Really, it's just me learning and forcing myself to do it and get comfortable with it. I mean, that live sessions, of course, first time I turned on the camera for my live session, and it's like, what the heck am I doing? But now I am so comfortable. I prefer live sessions over anything. You just turn on your camera. I'm here. Hey.
It's kind of funny. Me and you were opposite. So like, during the beginning of this live stream, when you're asking me questions, I'll be honest, I was just so nervous. And that's why I was kind of like really short worded with like responding to some of your questions. It's just, I don't know, something about live streams for me at first. I just get nervous. I'm just like, oh shit, the world's watching. But now after a little bit of working it, I feel better now. I feel like it can actually be me. So just say it earlier. That's why I was being really short worded with your questions.
But yeah,
Ah,
we all of our personalities, everybody, we all have our comfort levels and we have our areas that are not comfortable. And so my advice after doing this for 8 years is you figure out what your strength is and you just be insanely good at it and build up your outreach on whatever it is you're insanely good at. Uh, Doing a blog, a written blog, will do it. Traditional podcast, short form video, long form video, lives, whatever it is that you're good at. And once you've established yourself with that thing, then you can start branching out and trying new things and exploring how you can expand as an artist. Because I mean, this is art. This is something that you got to be good at. You got to practice at it, and it's an art. So uh, do what you're good at, and then keep growing as an artist. That's what I got to say.
yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask you a question for me,
Yeah.
and I think it might actually add values to the people here. So it's kind of more with insecurities.
Okay.
So like I've been wanting to start a Patreon for like a few months now, but my other creator friends that I've been making lately was like, hey, certain silly things I'll film. They're like, you should do that, put that on your Patreon. I'm like, I'm too nervous to, or I'm too insecure, blah blah. And they're like, why? I'm just like, I don't know. I don't feel like I provide value. And you know what's really dumb too? Like I went to Arlington, Texas last February, and I met so many of my viewers. I didn't even know I had Texas viewers at the show, and I had genuine conversations with them. And literally, like a few of them actually was like, when are you going to start a Patreon? Like, I'd do that. And like, without even me bringing it up, and it was just, I told them the same thing. It's like, I'm just too insecure. Like, I just feel like I don't provide enough value for you guys. And they were like,
I
no, you should
I
do it.
waited
I
6
don't,
years before starting my Patreon, and it because it's the same thing. And my reason was because I put my heart and soul into everything that I do. I don't have enough bandwidth to have a total new outreach for my Patreon viewers and give them like weekly stuff. And so that's why I didn't do it for the longest time. And then I finally did it, and I made it clear, guys, if you come to my Patreon, I really appreciate it. It is to support me in getting my stuff out to the public, and I'm gonna give as much attention as I can to you, and I do. If I have some thoughts on my mind, like a 2.5 minute monologue about something that's on my mind about the chameleon world, I'll put it on Patreon. It will go nowhere on YouTube or on Instagram. It'll just be a boring thing. But
your
sometimes,
super fans will appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. And so it if they come on with the idea that they're just supporting you, and a lot of people do. It's amazing how many people will appreciate you enough, what you do, that they'll support you. And so what you got to do, Ryan, your homework is to set up a Patreon tomorrow.
Oh no, I don't know about tomorrow. I'm too insecure for it. See, there we go again,
Exactly, and
guys.
that's why
I
you come
just
here.
I just opened up to you guys and Bill about it, and now
Yeah.
that
And
I'm
yes,
even reading some of the comments, you guys are telling me to do it. Bill's telling me to do it, and now I'm too. See, I think this is something that every creator is going to run into a certain way, and I feel better talking about it. But I'm just saying, like, I think all of us are going to run into something so stupid
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
and it's something, and the thing about us creators is, especially those, I mean, coming in now, people have so many different ways of getting money that it's maybe a little bit easier. But if you've been creating content, you are used to doing it for free, and you have come to terms with that, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to charge for it. And like with Patreon, it's wonderful, you're not charging for it. These are the people who have been consuming your content for years and really appreciate what you've done in their life, and they'd like you to continue. And so give them the chance to do that. uh and me sitting here giving you all of this advice and being so confident telling you to start it, uh, I struggled for a year with the exact same things you were talking about. And I will tell you, I did not come to a satisfying conclusion that I said, okay, now I feel good about it before I started. I just started it and forced myself to be uncomfortable. So I am telling you, Ryan, you just have to force yourself to be uncomfortable.
It's kind of like you just gotta press record.
Yeah,
But I'm also thinking, like, what do I post behind there? Like, I've had ideas like this summer's going to be a busy breeding season. Maybe more like daily updates on the babies, something like that, more behind the scenes. Because, like, there's certain videos I want to make, but like you were saying, they'll do like trash in the algorithm because things change. Maybe that's for my super fans to see. I don't know. Just
you know what? What you can do is just do basic things of in your life and what you're thinking at the time, because you have just because of what you go through and the videos you create, you have an experience that most people don't. You have perspectives that most people don't. And the Patreon is a great place to go because the fact that they are there in the first place means that they have developed a certain meta relationship with you and they care about what you say. Something your approach has spoken to them. And that's really what we are here as creators. We are not here to speak to everybody. We are here to speak to the small uh, 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 community.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning the word community that resonates with us. And that's what's the wonderful thing about social media. You can have so many different people, look into the chameleons. We've got you've got me and you've got Neptune the chameleon. And we are two totally different. Our outreach is totally different.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, dude. Like
but
Neptune,
it's
I met her in person.
yeah,
Super nice girl.
I mean, we have a lot of overlap, but our styles are two totally different styles because we're two totally different people. And so the chameleon community has the choice. Which style do you resonate with? It's not a right or a wrong thing. It's what do you resonate with? And I'd love to have more people in the chameleon community do outreaches so we have more styles. And the more styles we have, the more people we can all reach. But there are people that resonate with your style and you speak to them. And that's the people that are going to be on your Patreon. So yeah, just be more casual with them.
Yeah, I guess just more casual behind the scenes. I guess I don't even have to do special editing. Maybe put my stupid phone on a tripod.
That's
Like, hey, this is the stupid baby chameleon hatched like a week ago, and it's not doing well. Maybe I'll do this instead, separate it, just something like that. I guess.
yeah. And I think you've got to make it to point where you don't make it a complete separate outreach because that'll kill you.
Yeah, I kind of got scared of that because, like, oh, I need to provide content to do this and that. I don't want to make extra work, but Patreon is something more to support you. What people say,
Yeah.
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 It's
Now,
stressful to think about.
if you here's an interesting thing, that a little insight. When you start building your Patreon and you start building it up, you may notice that it starts to get a little bit more significant than perhaps your YouTube AdSense revenue gets. And when that starts to happen, you can slowly start shifting more and more attention towards taking care of the people, because you're going to have the Patreons. Your first Patreons are going to be the people who want to support you. But then there's this group of people that says, hey, I'm not just going to throw money away, but if there's something special there, then I will
Mm,
join up. And so it's like the people who say you're
okay.
getting a little less of the super fan and more of the, well, what else do you have? And uh, and as that starts to grow, and you notice that it's growing a little bit faster than your YouTube AdSense, you can start shifting some of your attention to your special Patreon people and really start taking care of them.
Fan requested videos. There we go. You know how often I get asked videos to do this and that, and like I want to do it, but then I'm just like, dude, honestly, like at this point, if I make a video like this simple, it will honestly really hurt my channel because once you start performing bad on multiple videos, YouTube will start punishing you for it. Yes, we get punished like that. It's crappy, but
Oh yeah.
maybe that's a great idea. Fan requested videos, some behind the scenes, like maybe like a 2 minute like story with my phone,
Well, I
like
will tell
behind the
you,
scenes of reptile breeding.
I have a Patreon for both my Chameleon Academy as well as my Reptile Entrepreneur. And my patrons, they get stuff ahead of time. And it may be a week ahead of time, a couple of days ahead of time, but they get it ahead of time and they get a discussion with me. And I will tell you, I make sure that the people on Patreon, they get taken care of. If they have a question, like on my Chameleon Patreon, if they have a question, I am answering that question probably with a video. And I make sure that, because that's the one thing I
Video
can do.
response. Video
That's the
response. I like
one thing,
that.
because I can't entertain them. I don't have enough bandwidth to do a complete entertainment channel there. But if they have a serious question, I've been wondering about this, about chameleons. I tell you, I will make a video and I will make sure that person grows in chameleon herpetoculture. That's one thing I can do. I can help them along their path. And so I am obsessive about, if anybody on my Patreon has a question, they get personalized attention. And so,
That's a really good idea too. Kind of quick consultant, video responses. I like that. Or behind the scenes, fan requested videos.
and you need to, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get caught up in tiers. All of a sudden,
I've already been thinking about that.
Um,
T-shirts and stupid stuff like
so
that.
you start this, I'm
Pins.
going to tell you right now where you're going to start off with 3 tiers, and it's going to be the same thing. You're not going to offer anything different for those 3 tiers, because that will be a reason why you put off launching it, because you haven't figured out those 3 tiers.
Oh my God, you just read my mind. That's
So,
totally another reason why. Like I've thought about it for a long time. Oh, maybe like a $3 tier behind exclusive videos or whatever. $5 tiers, maybe your name on the end screen, maybe a t-shirt along with it, or maybe at $10, all that plus a private Discord where I will personally chat with you.
Ryan,
Okay.
right now, my Patreon Chameleon Academy has like 4 different tiers, and there's nothing different between them. My Patreons literally go there and they decide how much they want to support me. And it is fully, it's not that they're going to get anything different. It's that they decide your outreach is worth this much to me, that I want to donate to you and keep you going. And now there is, if a $3 patron asks something, I will definitely type out a response and make sure they're taken care of. If someone is giving me $20 a month, you can be sure that person will get a phone call, they will get a video conference, they will get taken care of right away in as effective of a way as possible. So I take care of everybody, but some people will get white glove. I will stop my day for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, everybody, we got people going off on the chat. Thank you very much for joining here. Me and I'm gonna harass Ryan a little bit more. Make sure he doesn't have a way to weasel out of putting his Patreon together.
Oh God,
And,
no.
and so if you guys got to run, Two Turtle Tom and Intrepid Exotics, thank you very much for joining us. And but yeah, so you're going to have to do it, Ryan. And there's no easy way. If you put everything together and make it all squeaky clean, you're gonna put it off for
Drown.
months.
You're right.
So do it, and let the embarrassment of that being public drive you to make it better. But right now, what happens? You do 3 tiers, 4 tiers that are, there's nothing different between the tiers, and you just start
I'm sorry, this guy, you made a comment. Ryan's tears or Ryan's tears? Okay, you got me on the tears, bro. You got me. God, that was good.
And the thing is, you just got to start posting, and you'll figure out. Hey, you'll figure out your style as you go along, Ryan.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a crybaby style.
Believe me, I'm enjoying watching you struggle and squirm like this, because I is exactly what I did. And I even came up with the thing, wait a minute, I've been doing it for free for so long. Are they going to resent me for all of a sudden doing this? And now if they do, they don't sign up. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Unsubscribing, move along, I guess.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, maybe we would pull this to a close. We're actually
we're getting close to that 2-hour mark.
Yeah. Wow. That was quite the show. So, all right, everybody who's still here, thank you so much for joining us. Ryan's channel, he's got a YouTube channel called Mighty Morphing Reptiles. And me, I have the Reptile Entrepreneur and the Niche Content Creator Outreach, which is both on YouTube. As you know, you're here, but they're also podcasts. And there's a lot of episodes on the podcasts to help people build up their business, build up their outreach. And so invite you all to check out those resources. And Ryan, I want to appreciate you hanging out with me for all this time. On the very first live that I said, okay, it's time to start the lives on this with this topic. And
I appreciate you lecturing me and telling me to passive aggressively to man up and just do what I need to do.
Yeah,
I need a coach. Sometimes we all need coaches, and that's why I'm happy to be here.
And I'm not sure if I've done my job if you consider it passive. Like I really tried to call you out.
You did actually. I don't
know. All right. Okay. So everybody, all of you who are in the audience, you need to help me. And tomorrow you need to be messaging Ryan about where is his Patreon. Ryan, how are you going to announce this? Is you going to be on your community tab on YouTube?
Community tab. Once I start doing it, I'll probably have to start mentioning every live stream, at the end of the video or something like that. I guess.
All right, everybody. We need to congregate around his community tab. He's got an Instagram as well. So if you don't see it tomorrow, go ahead and start asking him where it is. So, don't think I won't use the mob against you, Ryan.
Shoot.
All right. Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's go ahead and let Ryan have a good night. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And Ryan, of course, you've been a great first guest co-host. I don't know what to call you. You were a co-host on here. So, all right, we'll say goodbye, and I will be here next Sunday night. This is going to be a regular thing that we're going to do, and I want to bring on people from the community and let you get to know them. Anybody who's been on the podcast, I'll bring them on here. So anyway, we'll see you, everybody.
All right, catch you guys later.